You're eating a science experiment the Europeans threw out decades ago. The US food supply contains over 10,000 chemicals. Europe allows around 410. This is a review paper examining why your grocery store and a German grocery store are basically different countries. The open question it asks: when two wealthy regions eat differently under different rules, do their bodies notice? The FDA's central mechanism is called GRAS, generally recognized as safe, which lets companies self-certify that their own ingredients are harmless. Under GRAS, a food company can introduce a new chemical without ever notifying the FDA or the public. Europe's Food Safety Authority, the EFSA, flips that. Companies must prove safety before anything hits the market. Think of it like software. The US ships first and patches later. Europe requires a security audit before release. That philosophical gap has consequences you can literally eat. Potassium bromate, added to bread to make it rise better, is classified as a possible carcinogen by the WHO and banned across Europe. Titanium dioxide, the white pigment also used in house paint, was banned in the EU in 2022 after regulators found it may damage DNA. BVO, brominated vegetable oil, a flame retardant compound that accumulates in body fat, was standard in US citrus sodas until 2024. Artificial dyes like Red 40 and Yellow 5 are linked to hyperactivity in children and still in US food, while Europe bans or warning labels them. A peer-reviewed study found that 72 of 394 active pesticide ingredients approved in the US are banned in the EU. That's 27% of total US pesticide volume. Sprayed on crops, ending up on your plate. The agencies aren't disagreeing on the science. They're disagreeing on who has to prove their case. Americans get 57 to 58% of their daily calories from ultra-processed food. Factory-made products engineered for taste, not nutrition. Italians get 14. US restaurant portions run 25 to 89% larger than their European equivalents. A US McDonald's small drink is 89% bigger than the UK version. The large fries weigh nearly double. But the cultural gap runs deeper than portions. In Mediterranean countries, a meal is a social ritual. Multiple courses, extended tables, definitely not eaten in a car. Americans optimize for speed. Europeans extend the table. These habits compound the chemical gap. US life expectancy hit 79 years in 2024. Its highest ever recorded. Comparable wealthy nations, France, Japan, Germany, Australia, average 82.7 years. That 3.7-year gap has been growing, not shrinking. 42% of US adults have obesity. Italy's rate is 24%. A 2024 review of nearly 10 million people linked ultra-processed food to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and mental health disorders. The gap is not theoretical. It is measured in years lost. The US is starting to move. The FDA is phasing out petroleum-based synthetic dyes by 2026 to 2020 and banned BVO in 2024. The MAHA initiative, the current administration's food health push, has put the GRAS loophole under formal review for the first time in decades. But the dye phase-out relies on voluntary industry pledges, timelines have already slipped, and pesticide restrictions remain largely untouched. And the precautionary principle has a real cost. Overly strict rules can block beneficial innovations just as effectively as harmful ones. Calibrating caution without paralysis is genuinely hard. Here is what this actually means. Individuals can act now. Read labels, cook at home, shop the grocery store perimeter, eat slower and in smaller portions. But individual action has a ceiling. The change that matters is moving beyond voluntary pledges to mandatory regulation. MAHA is the most significant US food reform push in decades. Whether it closes the gap depends on whether voluntary becomes required. The takeaway? A regulatory system that lets industry prove its own safety will always weigh profit over precaution. Turns out generally recognized as safe is a significantly lower bar than actually safe.